Back in the 1970s, the German Bundeswehr was not deemed to be able to meet the requirement for an air-transportable light armoured vehicle. NATO wanted all of its member states to have a light tank that was air-transportable in all common NATO aircraft, and eventually, a light tank that would be able to be parachuted out the back of said aircraft. In 1975, Porsche began working on what would become the Wiesel. However, the project was stopped in 1978 due to a lack of funds, but development was carried on by Porsche due to interest from other countries. Eventually, the German government did order over 300 of the Wiesel vehicles. Over 200 of these vehicles were armed with the tow-guided missile, and about another 100, called the 1A4, was armed with the Rheinmetall Mark 20 RH202 20mm cannon. While the Wiesel hasn't seen wide-scale combat, it was deployed to Somalia in the 1990s as part of the German intervention in the Somalian Civil War. Well, enough about real life, what about in War Thunder? The Wiesel 1A2 is a rank 6 battle rating 9.0 tank destroyer found in the German tech tree. To unlock this tank, it'll cost you 270,000 research points, and you're going to have to unlock the vehicle by purchasing it for 740,000 silver lions. To train the crew of this vehicle, it'll cost you an additional 210,000 silver lions. While not particularly needed in this vehicle, I'd still recommend getting the Expert and Ace qualifications, costing 740,000 silver lions for the Expert and 2,100 Golden Eagles for the Ace qualification. In terms of repair cost, you can expect to pay 4,392 silver lions when fully upgraded. Going on to the rewards, and when playing realistic battles with a premium account, you can expect an RP modifier of 452% and a silver lion modifier of 240%. In terms of customization, there are several camouflages available for Golden Eagles. Well lads, just how powerful can this small little vehicle be at battle rating 9.0? And should you grind it? Stick around to the rest of the video to find out. Moving on to the engine and survivability, and the tank is powered by an engine producing 87 horsepower. While this doesn't sound like much, we have to remember the Wiesel only weighs 2.9 tonnes. The weight of this tank, combined with the engine power, gives it a power to weight ratio of 30 horsepower per tonne. This is absolutely exceptional, and gets a tank up to a top speed of 80 km per hour, and can even manage 30 km per hour in reverse. Quite frankly, this is like an R3, but at battle rating 9.0, and it's probably, literally, the most fun I've ever had in War Thunder. We'll cover the missile later, but even the speed of this thing is impressive. You rapidly accelerate, you have a very high top speed, even on soft terrain such as sand or snow, and when on hard surfaces like concrete, you are literally faster than most main battle tanks. This incredibly high top speed, combined with the incredibly small nature of the tank, makes it very hard to detect, very hard to see, and very hard to hit. Alright, survivability. And as you'd expect, it's pretty disappointing. As you can see in this image, we only have a crew of 3, with a driver in the front and 2 gunners in the rear. Also in the rear is a destroyer's amount of ammo. Each one of these ammo contains a launcher tube for the missile. These are obviously incredibly explosive, and if a round strikes one of these, it'll instantly destroy the vehicle. The combination of the low amount of crew members and the ammo rack in the rear of the vehicle make this tank incredibly unsurvivable. And it doesn't get better when we look at the armour. As you can see, the thickest part of this tank's armour is 8mm thick. This makes you vulnerable from everything above a rifle caliber machine gun, including American 50 cals, as well as the Soviet 50 cal and 14.5mm heavy machine guns. Quite funnily, the thickest part of this tank's armour are the tracks, being 20mm thick, more than double the actual armour of this tank. But as we covered in the mobility section, you really need to use your speed and mobility to keep yourself alive in this, and not the armour. I'd even go as far to say that if you get spotted in this tank, then you're playing it wrong. You want to use that speed and small size to get into cover and kill enemies before they even see you. We then come on to the weaponry of the Wiesel 1A2, and our primary weapon is the BGM-71 tow launcher. We can carry a total of 8 rounds, and we have a base reload time of 13 seconds. The launcher can also traverse horizontally 45 degrees off the nose of the vehicle, in either direction. We also have very good vertical guidance characteristics, being able to elevate and depress the gun 20 degrees. This allows you to go hull down and peek over ridges. Camping on top of a hill and shooting over the lip of said hill is an incredibly powerful tactic with this tank. But a missile launcher is nothing without its missiles, so let's get into them. Our stock weapon is the TOW-2. It travels at 329 meters per second and contains a high explosive anti-tank warhead containing 4.1 kilograms of TNT. This missile is capable of penetrating 800mm of armour at any range, and when attacking armour angled at 6 degrees, it drops down to 400mm of armour. Your first unlockable missile is the TOW-2A. This is a tandem warhead, allowing it to defeat explosive reactive armour, commonly found on Soviet and Chinese tanks. This has the exact same flight characteristics, same 329 meters per second, and same TNT warhead size of 4.2 kilos. This is a good upgraded missile, and it will allow you to be useful in top tier battles. But it is your next missile that is the real king of this tank, the TOW-2B. This is what is known as a top-down attack missile. When you fire it, point it around the roof of an enemy tank. The missile will then fly over the vehicle, detonating above it, penetrating into the softer, less well-armoured roof. This usually knocks out crew, detonates ammunition, and destroys vital components, such as the gun breech and horizontal turret drive. The missile does travel slightly slower at only 309 meters per second, and has a slightly less powerful warhead, with only 3.14 kilos of TNT. The penetration is also a lot less, only capable of penetrating 100mm of armour. But remember, this is penetrating the roof of enemies, which is typically only 30 to 40mm thick. While it doesn't sound much, it certainly packs one hell of a punch. We then also have a rifle caliber machine gun, the MG3A1. You have a total of 1000 rounds of ammunition, and isn't particularly useful other than knocking down fences and small trees. I'd also like to add that this tank has Generation 1 thermal sights, allowing you to easily detect targets on the battlefield. Your high speed, small nature, powerful missiles and thermal optics makes the Wiesel one of the best tank destroyers in the game. Before we get into the conclusion, let me know down below what you guys think about the Wiesel TOW, in which tank, plane, ship or helicopter you guys would like to see reviewed next. To conclude, the Wiesel 1A2 is probably my favourite tank from the groundbreaking update. Its high speed, small stature and incredibly powerful main weapon just makes it so fun to play. It is genuinely the most fun I've had in War Thunder in several years. While you could argue it is borderline overpowered, seeing as enemies can't really counter your missile, but it's still fun to play at the minute. I do think it will go up in batter rating. This thing could easily go up to batter rating 9.7 and still be as effective. I'd even say to still be effective at top tier. Realistically though, I think it will go up to around batter rating 9.7 to around 10.0, but it'll still be incredibly powerful though. It's just so fast, and though with that gun depression as well, you can just shoot over ridge lines. Generally lads, this is well worth the grind. If you want to have a little bit of fun in the German tech tree, I would definitely recommend grinding out this tank. Alright lads, I hope you enjoyed that video, and if you did, please do consider subscribing to the channel. You can also leave a like and a comment, which again, also boosts me in the algorithm, helping my channel to grow. You can also follow me on Twitter as well as Twitch, and if you're a huge fan of the channel, you can become a member of the YouTube channel, which will give you a unique icon next to your comment, in both comments under videos and on YouTube live streams. Once again, thank you very much for watching this far into the video lads, and I'll see you in the next one.